If you'd held out any hope that Donald Trump had some line that he wouldn't cross in demonizing Muslims, well, I'm sorry. Our ability here to predict the next crazy thing that he'll say, the next crazy policy he'll advance, I cannot actually come up with anything crazier than what you're going to see coming out of this interview that he had with Yahoo. So he said, we're going to have to do things that we never did before, and some people are going to be upset about it, but I think that now everybody is feeling that security is going to rule. And certain things will be done that we never thought would happen in this country in terms of information and learning about the enemy. He speaks about it as if it's a good thing. And so we're going to have to do certain things that were frankly unthinkable a year ago. In response to that, Yahoo News asked Trump whether this level of tracking that he'd been talking about might require registering Muslims in a database or giving them a form of special identification that noted their religion. He wouldn't rule it out.
Oh my God. So
I think everybody knows that security is going to rule. That's Mussolini. That is a fascist dictator speaking there.
Yeah. So are we at the end of fascism where there are no rights left and there's gas chambers? No, we're not at the end of fascism. So we don't want to speak in hyperbole in that sense. Are we at the beginning of fascism where you start to give people ID badges and start to separate them out by religion? Well, that is what Trump just said he would like to do, right? And so, and if you're not familiar with history at all, that is exactly what the fascists did in Germany, where they separated out people based on religion. They had a national database, right? And you had to have the right papers. And then they started putting badges on them.
Yeah.
I can't believe Trump would say, yes, we should consider putting badges on people. Would you like them to be in the form of a star or a triangle? Which one would you like, Donald Trump?
Yeah. So we've got some historical information for you. So this is coming from the Holocaust Center. The German government's policy of forcing Jews to wear identifying badges was but one of the many psychological tactics aimed at isolating and dehumanizing the Jews of Europe, directly marking them as being different, i.e. inferior to everyone else. Anytime you force someone, like they did in Arizona, to carry their paperwork, it's to remind them every day that they do not belong in your society. Going on, it allowed for the easier facilitation of their separation from society and subsequent ghettoization, which ultimately led to the deportation and murder of 6 million Jews. Now, more specifically, criminals were marked with green inverted triangles, political prisoners with red, asocials, including Roma, nonconformists, vagrants, with black. In the case of Roma in some camps, brown triangles. Homosexuals were identified with pink triangles, and Jehovah's Witnesses with purple ones, giving you an idea of the number of different groups that were marked for differentiation. The two triangles forming the Jewish star badge would both be yellow unless the Jewish prisoner was included in one of the other prisoner categories. For example, if they were a political Jewish prisoner, they would be a yellow and a red triangle. And so now we have proposed ID. We have you can't be the president. Ben Carson said that. You shouldn't run for office. So being barred from inclusion in civil society, which was done to the Jews in the lead up to World War II. We're going to show you in a minute the setting up of the camps. We've got the IDs. We've got talk on Fox News and with Donald Trump of shutting down the entire religion. Just shut down all the mosques. Don't allow in any refugees that have that religion. Have a religious test. What else is there? I honestly can't come up with anything.
And by the way, of course, in Europe and Germany in specific, they started shutting down the synagogues and then burning down the synagogues. But in the beginning, they didn't say they were going to burn down the synagogues. They just needed to track them, right? And in the beginning, when they started putting badges on people, they didn't say, oh, we're going to put badges on people so we can murder them all or take them in the gas chambers. They said, oh, we just need to identify them, and it's just to know who they are, right? Because it's a possible threat. We have to be careful. So it's not like they started in a different way. It's not like they announced it from day one, we will, murder 6 million Jews, 13 million people overall. They didn't say that, right? That came a little later.
Yeah.
But the beginning was nearly identical.
Yeah. So I referenced the fact that there could be camps. And so this is coming from Senator Elaine Morgan of Rhode Island, a Republican, who says the Muslim religion and philosophy is to murder, rape, and decapitate anyone who is non-Muslim. She added that if the U.S. does take in Syrian refugees, we should set up refugee camps to keep them segregated from our populace. I can see taking Syrian refugees in, but keeping them all centralized. It sounds a little barbaric, isn't she merciful? But we need to centralize them and keep them in one central area. Now, she said that was just her first draft. In her second draft, she was going to say the Muslim extremist philosophy. But in this draft, she says the Muslims all want to kill and murder you. and rape you and behead you.
It's funny, again, there we go. People forgetting that people didn't mean all Muslims.
Exactly, yeah.
No, they just, all of a sudden, they do mean all Muslims. Gee, I wonder how that happened.
Yeah. We had the mayor saying that the internment of the Japanese, that's a model for what we could do with the Syrians here.
And this Republican legislator in Rhode Island is interesting. She admits it's barbaric.
Yeah.
She's like, it's a little barbaric, but let's do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where we are today. So, we don't even have to call it barbaric. They call it barbaric and say, let's do it. Right? Yeah, in a central area, maybe like a camp, we gather all the people from one religion. But remember, everybody, this religion is really dangerous. Now, do you think the Germans said that Judaism was lovely when they put the badges on people? No, they did this. They did propaganda, and they said, this religion, Judaism, is really dangerous.
Yeah.
This is a threat to our nation. We've got great devaluation of our currency, and it's the bankers who are doing it. In this case, but they were like Jewish bankers and Jewish merchants and et cetera. And they said, this is the dangerous religion. That's why we have to put badges on it. Now we have people saying, well, that's obviously wrong and propaganda. When we say this religion is the real danger, not some of them, but all of them, right? Well, that's completely different. I got bad news for you. It isn't completely different. It's actually very, very similar.
Yeah, no, look, I don't think that Trump wants to kill every Muslim, although he did respond to that guy saying we might have to get rid of them all, and he seems to be willing to banish them all. I assume that he's simply being a Republican politician who's taking advantage of the fact that the Republican primary voters are some of the most barbaric, bloodthirsty people in history, perhaps. A quarter in a recent poll agreed that all mosques should be shut down. A quarter of Republican primary voters say we should make a religion illegal in America. I mean, you ban the religion, you say we should put the people in camps, we should identify them all, we should have a database. If they weren't so pro-gun, you don't think that they would have said we should disarm them all already? If this isn't scary, what is scary?
But John, what did Hitler do? He brought in and he loosened gun regulation for Germans and Christians, right? But for German Jews, he said, okay, you can't have the guns. So, and what are they doing here now? Muslim-free zones in some of the gun shops in America.
That's true.
So now the government isn't doing it, although Trump's running to be the head of our government, right? But already some people are saying, no. Everyone but the Muslims get the guns.
Now, the one distinction is that the NRA is, and the gun manufacturers are thirsty for cash in a way that the German gun industry perhaps wasn't, which is why they have fought attempts to stop people from on the terrorist watch list from getting guns. So they love guns more than they hate terrorists. That's a distinction. But this is scary stuff. And we're still months away from the first primary, let alone the general election.
Trump's now at 42% in the Republican primaries. He's pulling away from the rest of them. Okay, so it doesn't mean that he's going to definitely win, but this guy is a clear number one in a field of now down to 14. It was 117. In a clear 14 Republicans in that field, he's a clear number one as he brings these ideas up in public, and those ideas aren't hurting him, they're helping him. And remember, look, it's one, okay, let's target the Muslims, let's target the Mexicans. Maybe different badges for those two.
Talks about China all the time.
Right.
Screw
Maybe
China.
One gets a triangle, another one gets a star. Okay. And he labels one of them dangerous as in whole. The other he labels criminals and rapists. Okay.
Yeah.
And then at one of his rallies, as we covered the other day, a Latino guy protesting him gets not only his sign torn up, as a bunch of them did, but thrown to the ground, pummeled, as a crowd forms around the guy assaulting the Mexican-American citizen, and starts chanting USA, USA. Now that is the sound of fascism beginning here in America. You want to deny it, that's up to you. But that's exactly how fascism starts.